This lesson is about the image tag. So let's open the examples folder and select the images subfolder and open the imageinline.html file in your text editor. This is a file with a paragraph in it. The content of this page has one paragraph, and the paragraph has a sentence. It says this paragraph has an image in line with it. And in the middle of that paragraph, there is this element here. Notice the image tag is spelled IMG. It is not spelled IMAGE, simply IMG. And it has this attribute, which is required, src, which is for the URL of the image. And you'll notice that this is a relative URL, simply the name of an image file in the same directory as the document itself. There is also the alt attribute, which is also required as part of the image element, and that would contain text that would explain what the image is for browsers that do not display an image for whatever reason. They're not visual browsers, they're not graphical browsers or something. So you could put in here a picture of a hand. And also these attributes here, which are not required but some of us think should be, specifying the dimensions of the image in pixels. The value of these attributes cannot be overstated. When your browser renders the page, it has not yet read the image file. When it first reads the XHTML code from the server, it pulls all that in and it processes it all, and the browser needs to figure out exactly where everything's going to go on the screen. And in order to do that, it needs to calculate in some manner the dimensions on the screen space of all of the elements of the page. And it can't do that if it doesn't have the image in its memory. So it either has to go out to the server and grab the image file before it can start laying out the page, or it has to guess. Or, better yet, you tell it beforehand. And so these attributes will actually allow the browser to do a better job of rendering the page and of displaying the page quicker and without some of the effects that we sometimes see. You're surfing around the web and you bring up a page and the page on your screen starts moving everything around as it reads all these other elements in. And if you're on a modem and it's slow and you start trying to click on a link and all of a sudden the link moves out from under your mouse because some image someplace else on the page just read in and now the browser knows how big it is, all of that can be avoided by simply including the width and height of the images when you write the XHTML code. It's a little extra trouble for you, but it's going to make the browsing experience a lot better for your visitors. Now let's take a look at this page in the browser. It's a very simple page. I'm going to go ahead and open it with Internet Explorer. And you see this paragraph has an image in line with it. And there's the image. It's the little pointing finger. We've seen that before. It's not one of the rude fingers, you'll notice. Now, when we move the cursor over it, you'll notice that there's no tooltip. It used to be in older browsers that the alt attribute would bring up a tooltip. And this was really an overloading of the purpose of the alt attribute, and I'm glad that it's been changed. The alt attribute is specifically for people with non-graphical browsers or with browsers for the visually impaired. The tooltip is something different. It's for those of us who have a graphical browser. Perhaps we want something to pop up. Most of the time we don't, but sometimes we do. And so we can put in the title attribute. Hey, you with the mouse. And save that. And we can make this nice by wrapping it around here. And of course that needs an equal sign in here. And now we reload it. And we should get, hey, you with the mouse. See, this is specifically for people who have a mouse. And, the people with the non-graphical browsers won't have a mouse. They won't see that. But then it's not really addressed to them either, is it? It's just addressed to those of us who might point the mouse at it. So that's the title attribute, and those are the major parts of the image tag. You'll notice this is not a container, and so to properly terminate it in XHTML, it has that trailing slash before the right angle bracket, and that is how we do it. Now, also keep in mind that the image tag is an inline element. That means that it can fit within a paragraph, it can fit within a sentence, and it goes right there in line with it. Now, sometimes you want the image to be treated in other ways, and in another lesson in this section, you'll learn how to float the image around and pour the text around the image. But for now, that's the syntax of the image tag, and now we'll go on to the other lessons.